Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is the author of several books and, of course, the liminal space. No other than Miss Vicki-Ann Bush. Welcome to Book 101, Miss Vicky, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Sure, Daniel, and thank you for having me. I primarily write young adult, paranormal, and paranormal romance. Liminal space is kind of like my out of the box because it is sci fi and it isn't young adult. So it's a little bit different than the other books, but it was a lot of fun to write and it was an adventure, and I hope everybody likes it.
Miss Vicky Bush, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. What does liminal space mean to you, and why did you choose this as the focus of your book?
Um, okay, it's kind of a story. Um, I was living in Las Vegas, Nevada at the time, and my husband and another couple of friends of ours had gone down to State Line, Prim, Nevada, to see a concert. Had a little bit too much wine that night at the concert, and when I woke up the next day, I was not feeling great. And we went to the cafe for breakfast. And as we were sitting there, I'm looking around and everything seemed like it was moving more in slow motion to me. And I started thinking, I'm looking at the people, I'm looking at the servers, and I'm like, huh, what if these people aren't human? And then from there, what if they're aliens that come from, what other planet and they've infiltrated, you know? And then from there, it just started taking off. And I started writing the story actually on napkins at the table because I didn't have anything to write with, write on. And it just blossomed. And the reason I think I got the inspiration is because State Line, Prim, Nevada, is like in the middle of the desert. So it's in the middle of the desert, and you have a couple of casinos, that venues there, but you're basically in the middle of nowhere. And I kept looking, I would look out of my hotel window, just like I have it in the book. And, you're looking out to the desert, to nothing, to, you know, beautiful scenery, mountains and desert foliage, but there's no city that you're looking at, or, established neighborhood or anything like that. And I honestly think that that was the spark for me to go down that road along with that breakfast.
Interesting indeed, Miss Vicky. And what personal experiences inspired you to write about transitional phase in life?
Um, since I was a young child, I have always been, I don't know how to put it, sensitive is basically what I say. And I see things, I hear things. My mom, my grandmother, my great grandmother, they were the same way. And it's been passed down to my kids too. And I think it's that connection with whatever we have that's beyond this life has always been in my life. So it just plays such a huge part in guiding me in things that, whether it be career wise or whether it be family life, or um, it's always been there, and it's I always listen to that little voice inside. And I think that's I've always been fascinated when I look up at the stars and I look up at the sky, and I feel a connection to the moon. And I think all of that just comes together. And That's what the inspiration is. That's why I'm always looking behind the veil.
Looking behind the veil. Interesting indeed, Miss Vicky. And let's talk about the themes and exploration. What are the most common emotions people experience in liminal spaces based on your research?
Um, Fear, wonderment, curiosity, mm, courage.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. And can you share a story from a book where someone found unexpected growth in a liminal period?
Um, I'm trying to think of what that would apply to. I think it would apply to the relationship between two of the lead characters. Because in the beginning of the book, when it opens up, their relationship is pretty much over. It's strained. Um, Jess has made her decision not to continue with Gideon, even though she loves him, because there's issues that Gideon has. He's kind of stuck. He's stuck in his own little world, and he doesn't see the things around him, and he doesn't fully see her. And I think after experiencing this, I don't know if you want to say horror, but after experiencing this and being catapulted into another a whole nother planet and having to go on that journey, I think that he becomes more aware and they start to gravitate back to each other because he's able to think of other things other than himself.
Miss Vicky, let's talk about the personal transformation of the book. How can someone recognize when they are in liminal space rather than just stuck?
Okay, we're going a little bit beyond the fiction here.
Yes.
um, how can they realize? I don't know, Daniel, if that's something that is a is more of a personal awareness. Like I don't think I could speak for someone else in that specific um, situation. I think everybody becomes and achieves their awareness their own way. And for me, like I said, for me, mine was the stars, the moon, being one with the nature around me, and then creating this from that. But someone else may feel like they've gotten that inspiration in that space from something else. So I don't know that I could really speak on how somebody else would do that.
How do you balance surrender and intentionality in transitional times?
Very good question. Wine? No.
I agree with that. I agree with that, Miss Vicky.
I honestly think, especially in what's going on today around us, I think that you need to have, you need to be able to tame what, how much you take in, because with everything going on, it can be so overwhelming and it could be so upsetting that you need to find a way to bring that down and bring happiness up. And for me, it's laughing. I like to lighten the mood, look at things that are going to make me forget for a few minutes and bring laughter into my life. so that I can reach a level, a balance that makes me cope.
Let's talk about the psychological and mindset. Why do liminal spaces often trigger such a deep self reflection or existential questioning?
Well, for the book,
Yes.
it's basically a questioning. It's basically a questioning because they are questioning their very existence. They are questioning the future. They are it's definitely a crisis. They're questioning everything. The future of the planet.
The future within the planet, of
Yeah.
course. And how does your book address the fear of unknown that comes with transitions?
Well, for the characters, unity,
Okay.
being together and working together to be able to um, basically escape, get home, and inform the rest of the world what's going on. So definitely unity.
Unity is the
Yes.
best policy, as they said, not honesty.
Yeah.
And what role does uh, loyalty did you create in liminal space?
A huge role of loyalty. And that goes back to the lead characters because for Jess, she felt like Gideon was not loyal to her because of the fact that he was always so focused on himself. And for a couple of the other characters, the loyalty comes from the friends being there for them, and they're willing to be able to put themselves in harm's way in order to help someone, in order to help one of their friends, whether it be to rescue them or to find out more about what's going on so they can uh, help them get knowledge to be able to find out what happened to one of them, because I'm trying not to give away the the whole book, but um, there is definitely a huge um, there's definitely a huge uh, loyalty factor.
Loyalty, indeed. Let's talk about the creativity and liminality. How can liminal spaces actually fuel creativity and or innovation?
Well, for me, it just gives me the what if. So when I'm in that frame of mind, that wandering frame of mind is what I like to call it. It sparks my creativity, and then from there, one little thing can blossom into, just like this with the book, one little idea or one little glance at a mountain range can put me in a space that has my creativity just take off.
Miss Vicky, as an author, what are your short term and long term goals?
Short term right now is I have a new book coming out in October. It's part of the Alex McKenna series, so I'm kind of focused on that. Long term, I have an award-winning short film that I wrote that was produced and is out, and it's inspired by the Alex McKenna series. Well, once that was done and it was achieving success, I tried my hand at writing the screenplay adaptation of the first book, The Geranium Deaths. So right now, for my long-term goal, we're focusing on hopefully getting the movie produced.
Nice. Good luck to your goals, Miss Vicky, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your uh, advice? What will be your advice for those people out there want to be an author like you?
It's a tough business, obviously. There's a lot, and it can be disappointing because you're putting yourself out there. But you know what? If you believe in what you're doing and this is a true joy for you, then you just keep writing and you keep trying because you're not going to achieve any goals by walking away. And so, if this is what you want to do, then you should do it.
Yes. If you have the passion of writing, please do it, people, and share to the world
Yes.
and stop procrastinating. And Miss Vicky, can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
It's more of an author that influenced my journey. I grew up with King and Kuntz and Rice and Bradbury, but Kuntz was my favorite and always has been. And his writing definitely inspired me and influenced me when I made the transition. Because I started in children's books, I have a couple of children's books. And when I made the transition to young adult and to writing the paranormal, which feels comfortable for me, um, it was definitely his books that inspired me.
Thank you for that recommended author or book, Miss Vicky. And let's talk about the societal and cultural perspectives of liminal space. How does a modern culture make it harder to see liminality?
Um, I think we're so overrun by information and constantly um, being on social media, and I don't think we take enough time. And I'm not saying everybody, but I think a lot of people don't take enough time for in uh, to reflect and to just have calm and peace and um, allow themselves and allow their minds to reach beyond the chaos.
Beyond the reach of chaos. Interesting. Miss Vicky, and are there cultures or traditions that handle transitional phases better than others in liminal space?
In liminal space, no, not you mean in the book? No,
Yes.
not in the book. But um, I come from an Italian family background, and although they are Catholic, they are also very mystic, and they have a way of dealing with life and things that are beyond what everyday life that I find very interesting. And I also find it that for them it comes extremely natural.
Extremely natural. Miss Vicky, liminal space, what are your struggles in writing this book of yours?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last question.
What are your struggles in writing liminal space?
Oh, I don't think it's going to be what you think. um, the book is in first person. I always write in third person, but this felt wrong for third person. So I had to adjust and learn, how to get the story out there from Jesse's point of view without going into the back and forth of a first person to a third person. So that was my difficulty.
Mhm. And is there another sequel, prequel, or another follow up for this book? Liminal space.
Not at this time. I'm not going to say never, but right now I don't have anything in the planning.
Okay, so Miss Vicky, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my Food 101 in its fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in its third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in its fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. And Miss Vicky, how can readers carry the lessons from liminal spaces into their next chapter?
Read the book.
Definitely read the book and let's support Miss Vicki-Ann Bush. So, Miss Vicki-Ann Bush, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books?
Yeah, if you just, oops, if you just go to my website, you can find the direct link.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Vicky Ann Bush because if you support her, for sure, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Miss Vicky, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I had a good time. Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.